Hello, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. I am Sam. If you happen to be new here, new or old, thank you so much for stopping by. So everybody come on in. I'm looking super pale. I'm noticing on camera right now. Very pale. It's nighttime and my ring light is just, it kind of oversaturates the situation, but so I need to get on getting a new ring light. Maybe that's something we can finally do this year. Anyways, so I've just kind of really been paying a lot of attention to my collection, going around checking on everybody daily, noticing, you know, all of the growth and things that are going on all the plants that I'm trying to get rehabbed and bring back to health, especially. So there's a few plants that I've just noticed I really haven't had to keep too much of an eye on over this past winter, and that's just because they've really just kind of been handling their own. Even if they have battled spider mites a time or two, it never really affected them to the extent that a lot of my other plants were affected. In this video, I just want to share with you a handful of plants that have really just been, as I said, holding their own this winter. They have not let the cold weather and the dryness, the sprinkles of neglect from yours truly affect them or stop their growth. These are plants that I've noticed have just done exceptionally well this winter. Granted, we are not completely out of the woods yet. We still have some cold weather to go before spring makes her way in, but we are through the worst of it, I think, and like on the horizon. It's also plants that I would consider my current favorites, like if we were picking winter favorites, I suppose, and that is just because they have been and are still growing beautifully. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on in to plants that not only survived but thrived this winter. This is Syngonium podophyllum albo variegata, otherwise known as Albosinghonia arrowhead vine. She is looking absolutely fantastic. I recently put her in this really nice pink planter. It's very simple but very classy. She's just starting to fill out again after being chopped up last year. This plant has had spider mites more times than I can count, but I've been staying on top of her, and so she really hasn't suffered that much damage. This is her newest leaf here. Look at that. I mean, that's what we do it for, right? I love all the leaves on this plant. Like, look at this one. It's got some kind of like half moon vibes going on. Actually, a lot of the leaves on this plant do. The leaves on my elbow come in kind of like a yellowish, or more like an off-white, I suppose. It's not really yellow. And then they harden off to this beautiful bright white color. And right here in this new leaf, we do have a tinge of green, and she is pushing out another leaf right here. Forever in my top, like, I don't know, 10 plants, regardless of her love-hate relationship with the spider mites. She's just been growing really well and not really dropping a whole lot of leaves, causing too much fuss. She's just been sitting there and looking pretty, and I definitely can appreciate that about this plant. So Albosinghonia has been a trooper this winter. I am extremely proud of her and wanted to show her off a little bit. So here she is. Hello, goodbye. Thank you for your time. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and knock the second and final Syngonium on this list out of the way. So this is my little Syngonium rayi. Not only is this a Syngonium, which are spider mite magnets, but it's also like a velvety leaf plant. And I think we all are well aware that spider mites love this kind of leaf texture. So this one has definitely been hit a lot, and it's just kind of a matter of staying on top of treating this plant. Like, even if I don't see mites or webbing, like when we're doing good and I'm not seeing any damage or seeing any signs, realistically it needs to be treated like 2 times a month, at least once a month, to keep it looking beautiful. And other than that, it'll do good. This is probably the most full I've had this plant yet since I got it. It was a tiny little baby starter plant whenever I did get it. It's had a few setbacks from the mites, of course, but it's looking really nice now. I really actually love the way that it's growing and the way that it's just kind of standing and presenting itself. It has beautiful posture, I guess we could say. The leaf is very dark, very suede, and then it has this gorgeous white cream variegation down through the middle of the leaf. While I've been stressing out worrying about so many of my other plants, even in times that this had mites, it really just pulled through, and it came back beautifully. So Syngonium rayi has survived our West Virginia winter very well. I'm really pleased with it. My cat is just, she knows I'm talking about her. Here she comes. She's being really annoying. My cat is in there being a complete lunatic, running around. She's waking my daughter Camilla up, so I don't know what else to do. Like, chill out. This little quirky cutie right here, who is growing faster than I can keep up, is my Philodendron compo. I'm going to put the name on the screen because I cannot pronounce what she's actually called, but I got this as a tiny little cutting actually not that long ago, like right before winter really hit us and it got super cold. So yeah, it was just a little tiny rooted cutting. I mean, it was like this big, you guys. It was itty bitty, and so this was an original leaf here, and you could see the original leaves had a little bit more of the mature shape, like they were starting to mature. The plants that they were taken off of were starting to mature because they have like those lobes going on there. This is just damage from the spider mites, but lo and behold, this leaf is still freaking holding on, and I really honestly can't believe it. All of this is just new growth, and it's only been like 3 months, if that. I put a stake in here and she immediately just outgrew it. Like, it was almost comical how fast, like, that stake did absolutely no good. And now I have just added in these 2 moss poles, and I had to move her to a taller planter because she was way too top heavy. Like, if the roots aren't growing as fast as the plant, it's difficult trying to keep a pole or something in here for support or for the plant to climb, because you can't uppot the plant too much in order to provide stability for the moss poles, if that makes sense. You don't want to put it in too big of a pot and rot the roots just for stability for the poles. Kind of an issue I'm having right now, and you can see even with these 2 moss pole extensions, even still, like, she's at the very tippy top, but I really want her to mature the leaves because that has kind of stopped since I got her, as you can see, because I didn't immediately put her on anything. I would like to move this plant over to a plank eventually. That's my goal, probably this spring. That's my goal, so we can really get bigger mature leaves, because I really do like the more mature look to this plant. However, I'm also probably going to give her a little snip so maybe she can branch out on down the vine and become a little bit more fuller of a plant, because right now obviously she's just one big long vine, which is perfectly fine. But this llama pot, it actually just became free not too long ago after being in use for the last couple of years. I was actually quite excited because I really wanted to put a plant that I'm loving right now into this planter, because I just think it is so stinking cute with all of the little colorful llamas going around the pot, and then you got these blue kind of like arrows going around. It's just really adorable. I moved her over to this planter with these poles, and I really like the way she's looking. She's actually been sitting back here. I moved her out of my tent because I don't really think she needs to be in there. My philodendron compo went from a little like 3-leaf cutting to this bad boy literally over the winter. So all of this has happened over the winter because I got her at the beginning of winter. Isn't she so cute? She just looks so cute. Any tips for maturing these leaves? Drop them down below, please. Alright, so this is a plant that I feel like this channel should be quite familiar with by now. And this is my squamophyrum. Rotted the roots last year, had to reroot it, which is actually no big deal because it rooted up immediately. It is still in moss. This will be a project for this spring. We have a lot of stuff we're going to be potting up this spring, you guys. Stick around for that. I mean, it rooted up immediately, and all fall and winter long, it just continued to grow and grow and grow super duper fast. So this was one little cutting, you guys. I'm pretty sure it was this one right here. There's 2 plants in this pot now. Well, there's 2 vines anyway, I guess I should say. So yeah, it was one little cutting with a couple of leaves, and this is what it is now. A month or 2 ago, I really couldn't tell you. Sometime over this winter, it pushed up an entirely new growth point off of the plant over on this side of the pot, and I was like, because a lot of the times when you take like a single vine cutting and you root it up and stuff and it starts growing into its own little plant, a lot of the times it's not going to push off an entirely new growth point unless you then take a cutting, prune that vine to encourage new growth points. But anyways, this one did. The squamophyrum will forever be a favorite of mine, like always, because it is just such a cool plant, but it's also just so easy and fast growing and just insanely rewarding. I just adore it because I'm really a sucker for this kind of leaf shape. And then also the hairy petioles. Like, this was the very first ever plant that I ever seen with hairy petioles that I was like, besides the varicosum. The varicosum has absolutely nothing on the squammy, but whenever I seen these red petioles with all the hair, along with this leaf shape, I had to have it. Look at her little cute $3 Target planter. Isn't it adorable with the little candy stripes? I feel like everybody loves this plant. It's just, you start out with a little cutting and boom, boom, boom. You have a full growing, unstoppable plant in no time. Like, it's pretty amazing. Well, this chromoferum is an all-time favorite, not just a current favorite. And he is also a winter warrior. Like, he just goes ham. He doesn't let up at all. We have my Philodendron Dark Lord. This was an import almost a year ago now from Aroid Market. Thank you, Aroid Market. So many of my favorite plants are from Aroid Market over in Indonesia. So this is one of them. And yeah, it's amazing. I love dark foliaged plants. I also love red foliage plants. And of course, I'm kind of obsessed with philodendron. So I get a little bit of everything. The leaves are like this very dark hunter green. I mean, it definitely does have a black look to it from a distance. The new leaves come in super duper dark. Like, look at this one here. This was the last newest. The backs stay this really nice, deep, like orangey colored. It's gorgeous. They do. Here, let me just show y'all the back side of this plant because And then we have these red petioles. It's kind of like a blood red, I guess, a blood red or a deep orangey red. It's phenomenal. New leaves come in very, very dark. Like, just look, I don't even have any words to describe it. It's just so cool and it's gorgeous. I love the new leaves on this because they're so striking. Another that just really exceeded my expectations this winter. This plant does live in the grow tent, but I am actually thinking about moving it out for the spring and summer because it really just doesn't need to be in there. It does like brighter light. That's how I'm going to get these larger leaves, the brighter the light I give it, but humidity just isn't a necessity for it. I'm kind of sad, honestly, having this plant hidden in the grow tent and not out on display so that I get to look at it and admire it every day, like multiple times a day. I just think it's such a statement piece. And can we talk about this planter? This came with a matching drainage tray. I love it. It's just such a funky, cool planter with, of course, one of my favorite colors in it. I think this plant looks really wicked in this pot. And I just feel like I'm not getting the full experience when it's in my grow tent. Done super well for me, not just this winter, but honestly, ever since I got it, it's just really been such a fantastic plant to grow and a lot of fun. So, love you. We do have one anthurium on this list. I'm sure y'all are probably sick and tired of hearing about and seeing this plant because I talk about it all the time. Like I literally have since I got it. This is my Anthurium magnificum, and this is the easiest, most down-to-earth, chill, fastest growing, fuss-free Anthurium I have ever owned. Granted, I haven't owned like a crap ton or anything, but I have had several. I do have several. I've killed several. And I can tell you this one right here is a girl's girl, okay? This is a beginner anthurium. Like, if you're looking to get into anthuriums, but you're scared or skeptical, or you're afraid that you won't be able to keep up with their high demand lifestyle, this one's for you. And probably, honestly, any other hybrid with mag crossed into it, I would say as well. I really want to get some hybrids this year. That's kind of something I've got my eyes on, are a few different hybrids of mag, because I'm like y'all and I don't want to spend money and get excited about these super beautiful but also super finicky and easy to kill anthuriums. I don't have time for that in my life right now. I have 3 kids. Like, come on, I want the anthuriums that are gorgeous but are also like rewarding and also just chill, you know, like chill out a little bit. Puts out a new leaf probably every week and a half to 2 weeks. He has a new one coming out. We actually have a new inflorescence right here. It puts out a new flower probably every 3rd leaf, I would say. There's a new flower coming in, and I usually just cut that off because I don't really have any need for it, and I want him to put his energy into the foliage. But this is his newest leaf right here, and I do keep him in the tent. This was the one before last, and this was the one before that. You can see even after I got my grow tent, I didn't move him in right away. He was just living out in my regular household humidity, and he wasn't getting great light. So I noticed his leaves were getting smaller. That's when I threw him into my tent, and boom, he gave me this leaf right away. You can see the difference there. So he just needed a little bit more light, and I do think he does appreciate the humidity. You will see a few dings and like boo-boos on some of his leaves. I promise you that is not his fault. It's not because he's finicky. It's not because of a humidity issue. It's only because of an underwatering issue. It's completely my fault. That's the only thing with this plant, along with all anthuriums. Basically, they don't like to dry out for too long. So like that's how I've noticed. That's what I've noticed with my anthuriums anyway. Whenever I get damaged leaves on them, it's typically when a new leaf is coming in and I skip a watering and it stays dry for too long. That's when you'll get the injuries on the leaves. Also, it's in a really small planter, so it's going to be getting upped this year as well. It's completely my fault. I need to stay on top of the watering, but especially whenever it's putting out a new leaf, which is constantly. So there you go. Okay, so this is another philodendron. This is a Philodendron linnae. This is a plant that was placing an order for a different plant. I'm gonna have to get some B-roll for y'all because I know you cannot see her. I was placing an order with Ecogenera for a different plant, and I seen this on there, and it was like $20, I think. And so I just kind of threw it on my order. Why not? So I got the Philodendron linnae. I just didn't really have high expectations because I'm not familiar with this leaf shape, and it's not what I'm typically into, you know? But yeah, I got it and I loved it right away. I mean, I opened it and I thought it was just beautiful. These big, long, like shiny, waxy leaves, like this deep green. I just think it is so nice, so pretty. This plant was sitting somewhere where it kind of got a little bit abused for a while. So like a few of her leaves got kind of tattered and ripped up. So I had to like cut them a little bit, and she lost a couple of leaves in between these two here. So she actually had a lot more foliage than she does now, but you know, it happens sometimes. It happens. After I got it, it immediately just started to grow. Like it didn't need time to acclimate. It didn't need time for anything. It's just like, yeah, let's do the damn thing. Constantly putting out new leaves. You can see this leaf here isn't even really fully hardened off yet, and already it's pushing out another leaf out of this sheath right here. So just really fallen in love with the leaf on this plant. Like, look at that. And whenever it's setting on a shelf, I don't know, it just is nice. Oddly enough, it's become, you know, it's become a plant that I really vibe with. I really dig it. Whenever I bought it, I didn't think I would care for it at all. So Philodendron linnae has been a really vigorous grower, you guys, and was absolutely worth that 20 bucks that I threw down on it. I would do it again. Okay, you guys, so I do have one more plant, and this is going to be just like a little bonus plant. I'm not going to get it down because it has attached itself to the plant hanger that it's currently on. It's a plant that y'all have not seen, like really at all. Maybe in a couple plant tours or something, but I never really show it because it lived in my bathroom, and it just does its own thing and minds its own business, and she's just she's an independent girly. So this is a Disciplia, and I got this at a Lowe's, I'm pretty sure, like a few years ago. I don't even know when I got this, but she's been with me for a little while. She was a rescue. I had to change her soil and everything, and so I rescued her. She was dying. She had a bunch of yellowing leaves, and I give her bright light, and that's pretty much it. I water her when she is bone dry, and she has just really came so far, and I'm so proud of her. I love the look of this plant. I would like to get some more Disciplia. The only thing is I'm not sure what type of Disciplia this is. I know that, or at least I'm pretty sure that it's fairly common. It's the only time that I've ever seen a Disciplia in person in big box stores before, because like I said, but in many videos, we don't even get the most common plants, you know. I found it, I brought it home. I wasn't really expecting much, and it's survived, I think, 3 winters now, so I'm pretty proud of her, pretty impressed with her. I recently moved her out into this new little setup in my bedroom so I can really look at her and appreciate her, because she's just been kind of on her own, out of sight, out of mind for so long. And I think it's a beautiful plant. I love the look of it. Like, it's so wild and crazy, and the leaves are just so like thick and succulent and like heavy. I love that it's a vining plant, but the leaves are heavy, not like, because with a lot of these vining plants like this or trelling plants, the foliage will be really dainty or thin. So I really appreciate the heavy, thick, succulent leaves on this beautiful plant. If anyone wants to ID her, again, feel free to do so in the comments. It would be greatly appreciated, as always. Alright guys, I think that's pretty well going to do it for today's video. What are your thoughts on them? Do you own any of them? And what plants have really been bringing you a lot of joy and just kind of growing really well and doing really well through the winter time and not really giving you too much of a hard time? Talk about it. Let's chat about it down below. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out, watching this video. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see you guys again very, very soon in my next video. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.